Ladies and gentlemen, we are at the point now where HR is sick of HR. I think this has been coming for a long time. In my experience, there's been a consistent lean towards more and more HR professionals wanting to do something else for all the same reasons that none of us really enjoy spending any time with HR. Again, nothing against the professionals that are in there. I did HR for a while, quite a bit. I work with HR professionals. But the stress that is associated with this particular career field, the folks who are landing in HR because they want to make an impact, they want to make a difference, they're discovering that, you know what, maybe this isn't something that we want to do. And we're going to take a look at an article today where we talk about the effects that's having on basically on HR as a whole, but also on businesses as well. We've got to remember that we've had a lot of businesses are structured around HR heavy on the decision making for the personnel side. And if this trend continues where you have more HR professionals leaving, that means there's going to have to be some adjustments in the greater company's culture as a whole. So that's one thing we're going to take a look at that as well. But before we get into that, we got an article that I want to talk about. The number one priority of the Inc. 5000 companies. Like, what is the priority there? And it isn't actually on hiring. That should be no surprise for anyone right now, because it's one of the worst job markets that we've seen in a very long time for folks who are looking to work. So again, for those who don't know, my name is Ryan Howe. I'm a business coach that works out of West Michigan and around the country. I help businesses perform at a higher level, and I help business owners build businesses that they can sell. I come here live on YouTube pretty consistently every single day, and I hope to earn your subscription. So let's get into this here. Again, links to everything we talk about here the article is going to be in the description, so be sure to go check that out. Let me extend this a little bit. You guys don't need to see my background. Okay, now again, this is from Inc.com, where we're talking about the number one HR priority of Inc. 5000 companies. It's not recruiting. Again, that's very apparent in the fact that there's not a lot of hiring going on. So let's see what it is here. And when I was going through this, it's actually what my clients are experiencing, and it's something that I talked about earlier in the week, that it should give you leverage as an employee. You know, one of the things that we're worrying about right now is the fact that employees don't seem to have at least they don't feel that they have agency, that they have some leverage over their employees. I'm going to show you right now the biggest concern that they have, and it's going to should give you some pause and take some consideration that, hey, you know what? You might have some leverage here. So Inc.'s annual CEO survey found that 59% of the fastest growing private companies in America named retaining their best employees as one of their top 3 priorities, compared to 46% that incited recruiting among the top 3. And then upskilling and retraining, cross-training were the most important HR issue, and then employee engagement, supporting blah, 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 right? We'll get into those. But what I wanted you to focus on, and this is what, if there's one thing you take away from the video today, folks, companies are scared of losing their talent. So they want to retain their talent. That means it is your opportunity to go and ask for a raise. If you are doing the work and you can demonstrate that you are performing at not just at your level, but higher than what is expected, you absolutely bring all of your data and go ask for a raise. It is so much cheaper for companies to give raises to their qualified staff than it is to try to recruit and retain, and hire in someone to do that. So this is your chance. You've got leverage now, so take advantage of it. Okay. Other things they talked about in here, well, supporting employee well-being because of burnout, and then managing healthcare costs is the other one. And that does come up time to time with my clients. They are looking at that other spots here. You can just see kind of how the breakdown here. 59% retaining top talent. So those are the strategies. Again, when I'm working with my clients that we are actively working through is, okay, we've got our current staff. How do we, we want to make sure we're engaging with them and that we are giving them everything that they need to be successful. So the only frustration that they may have when they come into work is the work itself, not the organization, not their equipment, not the way that they're trained, none of that. We just want it to be it's called work for a reason. So that should be there. Okay. So the next piece I want to get into here is, really is the crux of what the conversation is about, is what we're seeing. And this goes back here too. This is from HR Drive. Again, links in the description. Nearly half of HR pros and professionals in the United States say they've debated a career change in the next year. They're looking to leave. And as I mentioned in the intro, a lot of our businesses right now, they are structured under the where the HR is really, really central to a lot of the planning, strategy, and decision making that's going on. Good, bad, or indifferent, that's the way they're structured. But if we are losing the qualified talent for HR, there's business decisions and organizational changes and things that have happened with the intent of having HR in the conversation. And if that's going to be changing, as you can see here, it doesn't just set HR back, it's going to slow the entire business. All right. So let's see here. This little something in front of Amazon here. Holding signs during a walkout event at the company's headquarters. This is back in 23. They are complaining about the RTO. Again, that's still a thing. So here's the deal. When we're talking about our HR professionals, this thing I see burnout and the way that they are, looked at and treated within their organizations, and whether it's deserved or not, I'm not getting into that piece. But folks don't want to go talk to HR. They don't want to go and deal with HR. When they have to deal with it, there's a feeling that it is, that there's going to be troublesome, or that it's going to get back to their boss, whatever it happens to be. There's all of the things that HR does that businesses have set up for that. However, it's burning people out, and this is what we're seeing here. 48% of HR professionals in the U.S. said they've considered leaving. All right, and this is after talking to more than 1,000 HR professionals. They cited the emotional toll of managing workers' problems, feeling undervalued or unheard, and work-life balance challenges as the reasons for considering career change. Real quick, didn't that just sound like work? Let me go back and read that again, but that sounds like all the rest of us. Managing workers' problems, feeling undervalued or unheard, work-life balance challenges, and that's why they want to go somewhere else. So HR is suffering through the exact same, going through the exact same issues and the toll on their personal well-being that the rest of the business world is going through. So we shouldn't be surprised by that. And there's a number of people who change their careers mid, basically in their 30s, they decide to do something different. This isn't uncommon. The thing is, it's the number right now. It is half as far as for turnover in that. And one of the things that I want to be able to talk about here, go check out the article. It's really good. To kind of wrap this up here, is that the issue that is not the fact that these HR professionals are going to be leaving and going to other work. You're allowed to do what you want. You decide, hey, this isn't your thing. This is a job mismatch, right? It just doesn't work for me to be in HR. Fine. There's a lot of institutional knowledge that is going to be leaving from the HR ranks because of this. So my advice to the business owners and to the executives, those, CEOs, you need, and again, you have a chief people officer, chief HR, whatever. Just like you are going in and talking to your, the rest of your staff to see how they're doing, and you're asking HR to check on that, you need to make sure that your HR teams, to protect them, that they're organized, trained, and equipped to be able to go and do their work. One of the issues that you run into is that you are sold when you go into HR, right? You have the idea of you want to help people, you want to be help people do their work, you want to manage the people aspect of a business, and it's usually a certain type of person gravitates that direction. The problem is that the caring, compassion nature that HR professionals tend to have doesn't always translate into getting people to perform. So they end up absorbing all this stuff, and it's just this extra stress that they have on top of them that they have. So the number one thing that I see, and it comes down to the chief people officer, your CEOs, the board, whoever it is that's evaluating your HR folks, you need to make sure that they are actually not just culturally aligned, but their personality type is appropriately aligned in their work ethic. Okay, where I've seen more failures than anything are the people who are excessively compassionate are in HR. That's not what HR is there to do. HR is there to hold the line and protect the company, and obviously take care of the people aspect, the people capital. Got that. But what the ones that I see struggle, and this is probably in that 41% is a big chunk of these folks, they are overly compassionate people who are empathetic. And if you find that's what you're having with your HR staff, that's the majority of them, or you have those folks in there, you need to be spending time with them and help give them the skill sets to be able to adapt and thrive in that environment because they aren't naturally talented for HR. Okay. So that's been my advice across the board. I've had companies, they've just gotten rid of HR. They don't have it anymore for reasons. And it's because they kept, they had a couple people over the course of a few years, they left to do something else. And now I'm seeing this number go up. So it's definitely a concern out there. So with that, if you're in HR and things are not going well for you, make sure you're communicating. Okay. And then for everybody else, understand that HR has to do their job. And if you're running into a situation where HR is not performing for you, that's where you're going to their boss and your boss and you're getting it figured out. Okay. Just understand that's going to be the nature of the beast. Okay. So with that, thank you everybody for watching here. Hopefully I earned your subscription today. Take care. I will see you next time.